Hello viewers, Christine is my name. Welcome to my channel. It's Christine once again. A retired secretary. I retired myself. I resigned from work to concentrate on my farm. So here I am today. I feel today is a special day to me, and I pray it will be the same to you out there. So for today, I've come to tell you a few things that I've experienced in my life. I've been getting people every day, especially when I came to stay at the farm. I resigned from my work last year, that was 2020. So from August of 2020, it is a year in between now when I'm home at my farm. Every day I've been meeting people, especially those who come to visit me. They're asking me, but Christine, how are you managing to do this? How are you doing this and that and that? I've been telling them it's just the grace of God. It is just by God's grace. But I think it wasn't sufficient enough for them. Today, I've come to elaborate to you, my friends out there, how God has been there, how God's blessing can take you to another level. However, according to my experimentations and research, I do a lot of research. When I'm home, I write a lot. I've found out that there are 5 good ways somebody can accumulate wealth. Somebody's life can change automatically, gradually, but automatically changes. And there are those 5 ways. If you find yourself you're not in number 1, you go to number 2. If you find yourself you're not in number 2, go to number 3. If you find yourself you're not in 3, go to 4 until when we are at 5. So, no wasting time. We shall go to the first way of getting money: inheritance. People who have grown in a lot of riches, assets like land, their vehicles, they have been born driving Lamborghini. That's my dream kind of. They find themselves everything is naturally available. However, we found out these people don't make good entrepreneurs. That is what we have found out. Because they find everything is readily available, so their brains cannot think a lot to plan, to scratch here and there to make ends meet. So they don't make good entrepreneurs, according to the research I've done. Number 2 is talent. People who are talented, they can easily make money and survive and move on with life than somebody who wakes up every day and you hustle in different ways. And so people who are talented, they can easily make money. People like Cristiano Ronaldo is back in Manchester United, which team that I also support in football. People like Cheptegei Joshua here in Uganda is an athlete and is doing very well. People who have got talent, they only need a few people to motivate them, to support them, and they are there. Category 3, hard work. I heard of a story of some man who planted 300 hectares of cassava. He got the tender of supplying this food, cassava, in the entire capital of Uganda, Kampala. So this man within 3 months had supplied all the cassava in the city, and it was done. So people with hard work, they can also attain and achieve their goals. Number 4, personality. This involved acquired skills and ethics in work. How you relate with other people is very important. How dedicated are you to your duties? Trust and reliability in all your dealings. Customer care. All those factors, they make somebody to. It's a personality. Somebody just develops it, and you're there. I know of a taxi driver who was dedicated, disciplined, trustworthy. When he started this job, he was still young, a youth. He worked for this gentleman for some time. When it was time for him to do other activities, the owner of the taxi told him, I cannot leave you like this. Go with this taxi, move on with your activities, and gave him also some hard cash to push on with life. So personality is also an important factor. So if you're not in inheritance, you're not under talent, hard work, personality, or you've tried all of them, they are not working your way, we go to number 5, which is God's blessing. A blessing from above, which I've been telling people about. The Bible says, ask and you will receive. Not only that, come to me, all of you who are tired. Matthew 11:28, I'll give you rest. So our God is the God who doesn't lie. Then God's blessing will pour on you. First, find something that you're doing. Let it be there, such that God's blessing can be poured onto it, and you continue with your life. This blessing, some of the guidelines will follow. This blessing is like a covenant you make with your God. It will blossom. Some of you tell God, when I do this and this, I'll testify about your goodness. And at the end of the day, God gives you something, you don't even do it. This blessing also, it has to benefit other God's people. So make sure the blessing that God has given you does not benefit only you or your friends, but other God's people. That is the blessing we are talking about. The Bible talks of people who were blessed. Abraham is number 1. When we read Genesis, Abraham's story, he got a lot of land. Up to today, you out there, you're called the descendants of Abraham, because he obeyed the covenant he entered into with God. Another person in Genesis 40, we are looking at him, Joseph. Genesis 40 coming up to 42. Joseph was sold to Egypt by his brothers, and he went to Egypt as a slave. When you're a slave, you don't have a mother, you don't have a father, you don't have land, you don't have any say. He was really a slave. But because I'd moved with God's blessing, God blessed him where he was. We read in 41. Genesis 41:41. Let me read for you, such that you don't say that this woman has stories. I now appoint you governor over all Egypt. God appointed. God made Joseph to be appointed a governor. That is God's blessing. The king of Egypt made Joseph a governor. He had something he was doing. He was a dreamer. A dreamer is somebody who looks ahead. So get something to do. Then God's blessing will follow into there. When Joseph was appointed to be a governor, he managed even to serve other people. His brothers came who wanted food. They all got what they wanted. Because he was a governor, was in charge of stores for food. So he served God's people. However, to be in this blessing of God sometimes can be so disturbing. It is hard to stay in that blessing of God. There are terms and conditions you have to follow. The conditions can be so tight, so tough, but you have to follow them, and you remain in God's blessings. There is a story of a man I heard of when I was still young. He was called Vyuma. Some names are hard, but it means metals. So this Vyuma man had a very beautiful daughter, and he was a royal. So every man in the village wanted to get married to Vyuma's daughter. So Vyuma put one condition to the person who wanted to marry the daughter. The condition was he had, should I say, like roadblocks of people who were drumming and dancing on the side of the road. He had 7 stations of people dancing and drumming on the roadside. So you, the bride and the groom, you had to pass these 7 stations of these drummers until when you reach at the extreme end, you go with the daughter. And the condition was only that however much these people drummed, and danced, you should not turn your eyes to them. And some of these African dances can be so disturbing. Somebody even stands on one leg and shake for you, and you don't have to turn around to look on who is dancing. It was so challenging. But people wanted to marry Byuma's daughter. So all men in the village, they came, they wanted to marry Byuma's daughter. Like you out there looking for God's blessing, it is like this Byuma's daughter. So a lot of disturbance was on the roadside. And many men failed to marry Byuma's daughter. After some time, a young man who was a little deaf. This man was deaf in a way which was complicated. The noise that was near, it sounded like it was far to him. That was his kind of deafness. So this man said, me, I'll not look at whoever will be dancing by the roadside. The music disturbances of the drumming, it wasn't his issue because he had a problem. He was a bit deaf. So this man, he went on, visited Byuma's house and said, I want to marry your daughter. Byuma was like, fine, let's organize the day. They organized those beautiful dancers. The drummers were all there. They started their music, mission as usual. While they were watching whether this man was going to turn his eyes to these people, the man walked from the first station to the second until when he reached the seventh, when I did not look at anybody dancing, anybody drumming at the roadside. And this man married Byuma's daughter. Out there, my friend, who wants this God's blessing, a lot of things are going to come your way, disturbing ones. They want to grab this blessing from you. But if you have entered God's covenant today, be like that gentleman who was deaf and succeeded with his mission. He married Byuma's daughter. Because this Byuma's daughter, it was not only marriage, but whoever could marry this girl was given 5 hectares of land, 50 heads of cattle, donkeys, and you start your life out there. So, whoever is listening, don't be scared. God's blessing is under your way. Because in the book of Numbers 14, chapter 14, verse 8 to 9, what does the Lord say? That if the Lord is pleased with us, He will take us there. So do your part. If the Lord is pleased with you, we'll take you there. And give us that rich and fertile land. Do not rebel against the Lord, and don't be afraid of the people who live there. Do not rebel against God, and don't be afraid of the people who live there. So where God is taking you, there are a lot of challenges. He's aware. Don't be afraid of who is there. Move on, push on, move on. Like that gentleman who was half blind, half deaf. He managed to reach the destination. Even the book of Psalms tells us that how happy are those whose strength comes from the Lord. That is the book of Psalms 84, 5 to 6 to 7. So if your strength comes from the Lord, then why do you have to worry? Look for God's blessing. Let your strength be from the Lord, and you move on. The last but not the least. Sometimes a lot of challenges may come your way, and you feel this blessing is really running out of your hand. You cannot stay in this blessing because of the conditions God gave you. The conditions sometimes become so tough, and you feel you cannot manage to stay in them anymore. What do? We run to Him still in the book of Psalms. Psalm 138, verse 8. That you will do everything you have promised. You have promised, Lord. Your love is eternal. Complete the work you have begun. So whatever is happening in your life, God is aware. Call unto Him. Tell him to complete the work he has begun in you. His blessing is waiting, is underway, waiting for you. Grab it today. Take it with you. Move on with it. Here I am. 1 year down the road, I got an accident and everybody thought I'll not come back to serve the Lord, to serve his people, to do this whatever I'm doing at the farm. But I'm grateful to God. He has done his part. He is always willing to complete the work he has started. I pray for you, my brother and sister out there. Do something, then his blessing will be poured onto whatever you're doing. I love you all. Subscribe to my channel. Keep watching. Give my video a thumb up. Till we meet again. Thank you.